Hello all, we are here for the lesson number 28 of this VariCAD training course, and this lesson is called 2D drawing inside 3D environment. So as you all probably know, we've been talking in this training course about the working environments, and these are the 2D environment that we already seen, where we can draw these kind of entities, and the 3D environment, 3D space, where we can have solids, things like this kind of element. Okay, so these are the two environments that we've been talking about. Both of them are useful, both of them are important, but it is also important to explain and for your side to understand that even that both of these environments have their own advantages, and I already explained previously that the 2D environment is very important because give us the power to make any kind of profile that we want, and from this profile we can make the normal extrude, rotate, loft, and whatever we are going to see in the 3D commands to obtain 3D solids. But on the 3D, it's easy to understand that when we make new solids, any kind of solid, every time we make a solid, it is very easy to use these functionalities to place the solids, and it is much more convenient to work directly on the 3D. Okay, the problem is that to create these basic solids, we can work around these shapes, but sometimes, and on the majority of the times, there is no possibility to obtain a little more complex profiles. So what was really good was to work with what we can call a hybrid environment. And in the case of VariCAD, this is possible on what we say 2D inside 3D, and that is what we can obtain with this command here, okay, with this little icon here. I will show you how to work with this, but for that purpose I will open drawing, in this case the sample 4 drawing that comes with a standard installation of VariCAD. This is a normal assembly, okay, and we make a little example out of this. So when we are making this kind of mechanical assembly, it is very convenient sometimes to create one component starting from another component that already exists. Okay, much more easy, much more convenient, and that's what we are going to try. To start this, so we are going to this little icon, which is 2D drawing inside the 3D. So this will open a special environment, hybrid from these two. And to start in this special environment, we need to define a drawing plane. A drawing plane is a place, a plan in the case where we are going to make our entities. And why a plan? A plan because if we are working in 2D mode, we can only work with an established plan, okay? And that's the first thing we need to define. For that are different possibilities to define the plan, okay? And let us start to see this. First possibility to make the definition of the plan is drawing plan selected on solid. So if I choose this, I may choose one plan, wherever it is, defined by one entity, and I can define, for example, this plan here. And when I choose, you see that the axis of the plan are in the origin that is defined for this entity, but everything I do now, and you see that, and it will happen, it will act like this in any of the choices of that command, the 2D hybrid environment. These are the commands that are available. Basically, these are the same things that we have on the 2D side. So we are not going to see how to work with this, because this works exactly as on the 2D side. The command there is the same. The only difference or big difference between this special environment for the standard 2D is that here we cannot have entities like texts or edges or this kind of stuff. We can only have geometrical entities, lines, circles, polygons, etc. Okay? So when we try to draw something, even that I'm seeing this as a 3D, for example, a circle, I do whatever I want, okay, the circle, and you see that the circle will be automatically put on the plan that is defined, okay? Again, to see the other options, basically the first option is define the plan on an entity of the assembly, but it will highlight the outlines of the entity I'm choosing, and we can use those outlines as entities to draw, okay? I can choose the same thing, the exact same entity, and now you see there are no outlines chosen. I can use, for example, I will use again these ones so that you can see the difference. Now this is highlighted. I can say okay, I finish everything, and now when I say finish, I can extrude or make these kind of things. I will use the extrude, which is the most easiest one. So extrude, I give the height and the parameters, and I choose the profiles. Okay, I did not draw anything else besides the outlines of the entity, but I can choose now the outlines, do the OK, and now, okay, it did something, okay, as a base to this new solid. So the difference here I have the outlines as starting points. Here I don't have any outlines. I must draw inside the plan. I can have a drawing plan by the elements of the axis, but in this case the solid is chosen, and I can choose among these three possibilities of axis. So I have my solid chosen, okay, you see the axes of that solid are somewhere, okay, and these are the plan I've chosen, okay. I can have the same, this is for a single element, I can have for the entire solid the same, sorry, again in this case it was equal, but it can be different. I can have this option here, drawing plan by 3 points, which is the thing, most of the thing with the two first options are the ones I think they are best to work. For example, I can choose 3 points to define a plan, can be anything, okay. I will choose some random points, so you see that I've chosen something a little strange, but it can be chosen like this. And I can choose among, for example, drawing plane by the axis of the space, the 3D space environments on the regular axis, xy, xz, yz, okay. For example, again, this guy here, okay. I can choose whatever I want in terms of axis. Okay, now I will use the drawing plane by 3 points to exemplify what I want to show you, and I will use this solid here. I will choose 3 points, 1 point, I will choose a second point, okay, and I will choose a third point that cannot be collinear, so I will use this option between points and choose this middle point here with this middle point here. Okay, so now you see that I've chosen a drawing plane half of this distance here. So now I could make some drawing to the entities. Okay, it was easy, that part you already know, so I will not use these standard things here. Everything is the same as the commands we've seen before. I'd like to show you a couple of options with these possibilities. First, we have here the possibility to have this shaded or wireframe. Okay, this is a little gray to take some focus on the solid itself and to focus on the things on the drawing plane we are drawing. But okay, we have this possibility to change the state. We have the possibility to have the grid on or off. Okay, you can see the grid to help you, and we have an option here which is regarding those outlines that I've shown you before. In this case, I did not choose any outlines of the entities, but if we click on this, now it has nothing, but I will show you after the result of this. We can thick or thin the outlines we have in our profile. Okay, so what I want to show you in this particular case now are these two options here, which is a starting point to do something. The first one is to make an intersection into the objects of the solids we want. So I can choose this solid, and basically it made me an intersection with the solid. And now I can see this thing, thick or thin, regarding the profile. Okay, this is one possibility. The other possibility is this guy here, that in fact, instead of making a full section of the solid, gives me the possibility to choose just one entity and make the intersection with the entity I've chosen and the drawing plan I'm using at the moment. Okay, these are the possibilities. But what I want is this possibility here. And now I will grab this thing to build a new thing, a new part, and I will make an offset, for example. Distance, I can say distance is 1, okay, number of copies 1, and I say this for here, this for here, this for here, this out, okay. And now I will delete the inside profile. For example, and I will make to have a gap. We can do again. Let us do 2 now. We can use instead. Okay, we can use the distance to temporary polyline. Okay. Okay, that's it, and done. Okay, so now I can delete the inside, which is the intersection with the solid, which I don't want. Let us delete this, and let us make a new line connecting to close the profile. Okay, and we have a new profile. What we can say, okay, finish this and extrude. And I will say I could measure this between 3 points. We can measure this to here to say, okay, 140. So I want this divided by 2. Okay, and profiles. Profiles, I will open these guys here. Insertion point, it can be whatever you want. Okay, can be that side. And basically what I've done was to create a new part. This is just an example, but it's like a cover, and having it as a base from the one that was already on the assembly. For sure, I could do this with a regular 2D, but I had to make a projection to create some operations to insert it on place, and I think it was very easy to work with these commands, having this as a base. Much more easy, less effort, and it was in fact, I think it was very fast. What I want to show you, sorry, I made a mistake. Now I can use this guy here. I have the plan already defined. So we've used these two commands here, and these are the possibilities to have the sections defined. Okay. Besides, there are some nice options, which are these two options here, the save selected and the insert objects from file. To work with this hybrid environment, I can have these from a file, profiles from a file. I don't have anything prepared, so I will use only something that in fact it is not so good, but it is the 2D drawing I have on the sample one. So it will open 2D, not so good, but enter and okay, insert definitely. So what he has done, it was to get the 2D entities and took out the dimensions, text, hatches, whatever, and it put me on the origin of the thing I'm working with. Okay, so I have these entities here on the plan. For sure, when I'm doing now, if I want to do now some kind of profile, if I say finish the profile, extrude 70, okay, whatever I want, now I can use the entities I want. I can say, for example, only this entity, okay, insertion point, it can be this guy here. So only this profile it was used to work with, okay. But what was important in this particular case was to understand that I can use entities inserted from other files. And on the same way, I can use, let us open it again here, I can save selected, which is the possibility to make or enter for origin and say, in this case I don't have any objects, but for example, if I create some kind of for example, let us use this again, solid, okay, it is done. If I use this save selected, enter for the origin, and now the objects are completely inside these ones here, and I will use the profile A and save it. And now, okay, in this case it's not okay to leave without, okay. Just to see that that profile was saved, I can insert in from profile, open it. In this particular case it was not so good, but I can, for example, let's use a different shape and to insert okay, insert. So what I've done in this case was I've created a profile, I've saved it on a file, and now I've inserted it for, it makes no real sense now, it's just to show you, to exemplify, but I've called this profile, it was saved to insert in this new drawing plane, and for sure, again, now I could make this kind of operation, okay, that you already know. Session point can be this one and introduce this, okay. Basically these were the possibilities to work on this hybrid environment. So what I'd like to tell you to finish the lesson, it is I've seen too many people these days focus a lot only on the 3D because it is more what I can call more sexy to work directly on the 3D. But it is important for any user to understand that the 2D is, in my opinion, a base, and a very important base, even if we are working on a 3D CAD like VariCAD or others, okay? You may have or you may have not these kind of hybrid environments, but the 2D is always the base to have the freedom to create whatever you need in your assemblies, okay? It is very, very important. So with this idea, the lesson number 28 is finished, and I hope to see you on the next lesson.